passes through all these layers. Bring all the layers into one focus and make the whole focus into one window through which the light of subjectivity passes into the light of objectivity without any refraction. Then when two people are talking to one another, light meets light. But otherwise what happens? Sometimes mind meets body, sometimes sight meets body, sight meets skin, or sometimes sight meets only the skirt or the crop, hair or the whiskers and the barb, not even the skin. I may look at a friend with moustaches and barb and I may not look directly into his eyes and I may be mistaken that he is cruel, just like a boy who is afraid of a person with moustaches. And by just looking at his face, I may feel that he is cruel. That means instead of understanding him, I am having my own dirty image about him. That is what happens many times. Eye meets the shirt or eye meets the skin of you. Sometimes that is what we call misunderstanding. Sometimes when the other person is having very good intentions about us, we understand that he is having some bad intentions about us. We will say to ourselves, look how the fellow is mischievous and dangerous. In fact, he may be ready to shower his affections upon us. But because he is having moustaches and barb, we may think he is a dangerous fellow. That is what happens when our layers look to layers. Sometimes my mind may try to understand the meaning of your sentences. But if I understand one sentence and do not listen to the next sentence, I am understanding only the sentence and not your intention. Like this, thousands are the mistakes we commit every day while we are tackling with others. Our intentions go wrong, our affections go misplaced, our understanding goes into misunderstanding, and the result is we are always agitated about others, nervous, going into psychosomatic states. So, the first necessity of occultism is to know what is there in you and what is there outside yourself. The same thing. That is why there is a mantram in one of the scriptures which we are expected to meditate daily. When we close our eyes for 2 minutes in the morning, who is there in me? He is there in you. And the two legs of the compass from the two hearts, they meet at a center which is called the center of the circle, which we call the center of our solar system, because the sun is the center of all planets, and from the sun all the planets came out, and from our planet we are atoms evolving into living beings. If we understand ourselves and the other person as two circles on the same board, having the same board inside and same board of what we call outside, we can understand that we are all like the two legs of a compass. When you are talking and I am listening, it is said, I form the center and you form the circumference of a circle. That is, the leg of the compass in me is made stable and the leg that is placed in you is forming the circumference around me. Again, when I am talking and you are listening, you form the center and I form the circumference. In this way, the two legs of the compass begin to work in every one of us, with the sun as the center of the compass. Many people use the compass and the set square in the rituals as a child's play and as a formality, but they do not care to meditate and understand what compass is, why the compass is given in the rituals. One may be a member of a ritualistic society for 30 years. He may pay his fees regularly and give many banquets to his friends. But he sleeps over 30 years until the Saturn comes round once again, and he knows as much in the ending as much he knows in the beginning about the compass in the ritual. All the implements of the rituals, like the compass and the set square and the spirit level and the plumb. All these are the profound secret symbols that exist eternally in this creation, from which man could construct his own instruments for building making. So the mantram says that the one who lives in me is the one who lives in you, and it is the I am living in the center called sun. This is what is called the meditation of the all-pervading I am, and it is called in Sanskrit by the name Brahman. Remember, Brahma is different from Brahman. Brahma is creator, that is the four-faced symbol. But Brahman is the one existence in all of us, who is to be known someday by all of us. It is the one meditation that is expected by us in occultism. And the wisdom of Brahman is considered to be the highest. They say, first of all, know yourself. For a few minutes, close your mind. Don't concentrate your mind. Don't try to pressurize or torture your mind, or don't place any dot on any surface and look at it without moving your eyes, or don't try to fix the mind upon any picture. Don't try to fix the mind upon any idea or thought that injures your psychological mechanism. So, in this process, there is nothing like concentration. There is only the relaxation method. Relaxation of the known mind and the background mind. What we know as mind should be relaxed upon the background of itself. That is, what we do not still know our mind as our mind. We know that our mind exists, but we know that there is a background of our mind in us, which is the I am in you. And upon that background, learn how to relax your known mind. By doing so, and by putting a few questions daily for some days. The first question is, who am I? Am I my body? Or my body is included in me? Am I my mind? Am I any one of the psychological powers? Like this, you put some questions about yourself. Every day remembering that you are the totality and not the total of the bundle. Then what happens is a wonderful change takes place. That is, every layer of yours, suppose it is made up of a thin sheet of iron. What happens when daily you begin to touch it with a strong magnet? In the beginning, it is difficult, but as time goes on, it becomes easy and easy. The initial steps of occultism are difficult, but the later stages are not at all difficult when once you are successful in the initial stages. This is because it takes time for you to bring a magnet to the layers of iron. You have to inquire in which magazine the magnet is sold, find out what is the cost of it, purchase it and get it home. When once you get it home, it takes no time for all the layers of the iron you have to behave as a magnet. When you bring the magnet near this bunch of layers you have, instantaneously they begin to behave according to the law of occultism. That is, the occultation is removed stage by stage. There is the release of the solar eclipse gradually, and all the layers begin to respond to the beautiful light which is the I am of you, what you call I am daily. That light has been occulted all these years, and now occultism has made disoccult. Then take off the magnet. Again, it behaves only as iron. There is no magnetism in the iron left. That is what happens in the early stages of our practicing of occultism. That means there are stages when we feel very much illumined about our practice, and when we feel very much encouraged of our practice. When we speak only about occultism and nothing more, and when we think of our practice and its experiences, sometimes we see beautiful colors in our meditation, sometimes we hear some sounds, sometimes some words. Like that, we have periods which are glowing and illuminating, but afterwards we feel that something is missing. Sometimes we think, is this all true or our imagination? Is God science true or is it invented falsely by man? We had some experiences in the past. We saw some beautiful colors and forms, and we got many messages which we took into the book. Was all this true? Some days you feel that it is all false. Like that, about 10 or 15 years you will find that it is wonderful. And again, about 10 or 15 years you find everything nonsense. You should be careful of these waves in the ocean. Because whenever there is a magnet near you, you will find that everything is true. That God is true, that affection is, that everyone is fully filled with God. All these things appear true. But when once the magnet is taken away, we find that everyone around us is an iron piece. We hear only the sounds, one hitting the other. We find the office and the house too noisy with our own misbehavior, our own nervousness and our own emotional nature. And when a person who has acquired that magnetism of the I am is there near us, we feel the truth of everything. When he is away, we feel that everything is false. Such stages occur in the process of practicing occultism. That's why one of the inevitable rules of occultism is be in the presence of a person who is already a magnet. That's why they say the presence of saintly and holy persons is inevitable. How to know if a person is saintly or holy or not? We begin to test him and we fail. The only test of a holy person is a person who does not want anything from you. That is the acid test. And there is no other real test at all. And a person who can put up with all your vagaries. A person who can tell you directly about yourself, not to others. A person who does not comment others in their absence. This is very, very difficult in Belgium. Because not to comment about others in their absence is the one thing which is almost impossible in Belgium. And the other thing also, if I find something wrong with you, I should be able to tell you directly and not in the presence of others. This is also impossible in Belgium. We should not bawl out in the presence of others, shout. The habit of insulting others in the presence of others by exposing them of their defects should be eliminated. If you find something wrong with me, or if I find something wrong with you, we should two meet each other without the presence of a third person and talk in secrecy that I feel about you like this. If you are correct, let the other person rectify himself. If you are wrong, let the other person rectify you. These are the requirements of a person who is already a magnet. Because a person who is permanently magnetized can never be demagnetized by the environment. Environment has no effect upon him. The people who live around him have no effect upon him. So, the corollary is, inevitably, the person who is magnetized is always progressive, always pleasant, and always desiring something better for others. So, let us not call him a master or a guru or by any one of these misused names, because we have much misused these names and we have created something disagreeable smell of these good names. If we say Swamiji, it carries many impressions with our mind. If we say master, that carries some foul impressions which we have created for ourselves. If we say guru, that carries some other different type of bad impressions in our mind. Let us call a magnet, because we find no possibility to misunderstand a magnet. Just a lesson of magnetism in the primary elementary school will give you the capacity not to misunderstand what a magnet is. So by comparison, you can have a correct understanding of the person who has become a magnet. And his presence will give you the I am who is living in every one of you, the light of occultism, the light that is hidden in you by the layers, the light that should shine through the layers without injuring any one of the layers and without causing injury to the layers of other people also. If I am practicing occultism, what is the use of my creating inconvenience to others? Suppose I am a guest of Leona for 2 or 3 days. I say I am practicing occultism, and early morning about 4:30 or 5 I get up and shout mantrams for about half an hour or 1 hour to threaten all those people and also to threaten God. That's no occultism. Occultism is worked out silently in us. The school of ritualists say that the temple is built in the night without any sound of the hammer, so that by the time of the dawn the temple is glittering in gold. That is what the language of Freemasonry says. So in dark means in subjectivity. So all your practice of occultism should be subjectively objective. It should shine only, it should shine objectively. It should not sound objectively. The light of your practice should come out as your affection and love, as your behavior, which will never be inconvenient or odd or queer to anyone. No one should feel strange about an occultist. Then remember that he is not an occultist. If I have a badge to say that I am an occultist, and this is a Society of Occultists, Occultism and Co. and Company, or Occultism and Sons, or Occultism Private Limited, Company Limited, partners so and so, that is not a sign of real occultism. So this is what is called Brahma Vidya. Brahma means the one existence in everyone, with which all the layers are made, with which all the layers of the solar systems are made, and all the layers of our earth globe are also made, and all the layers of each atom are made, and all the layers of your constitution are made. This is what is occultism, and this is the subject that is dealt with, the item called Uttara Mimamsa in Sanskrit. The first sentence says, and now we start to experience what is Brahman. The book begins with that. Let us experience what is Brahman. That is how the book begins, the ancient most book in occultism. But strangely enough, the book begins with half sentence. We don't know where the first half is dropped off. The book begins like this. And now let us begin to experience Brahman. What nonsense he means. Where is the first half of the sentence? Why he begins the book and now? It means there is something you have to do previously before you enter this book. That is what we talked of yesterday in our yesterday's lecture. That is, know something about the sciences of the world, the arts and the humanities, the arts, and something of the education of the universities, and something of the education of the universities, something of what all people call education. Be up to date in it. Don't be a fool in worldly knowledge, but only don't have a glamour of what you have learnt in worldly knowledge. So be a master of the very little thing which is called the worldly knowledge, because the very great thing is still there for you to learn. And then complete the reading of your own scriptures. with a proper person, and practice some daily routine which is uniform, and practice what is called daily prayer and meditation, and be sure that you behave with presence of mind with others, and then get yourself married in proper age. In the meanwhile, be reading the scriptures daily, and be a father, and create the children you have brought to the world. That means we reproduce children, but we have to create them also. That means you have already reproduced one or two children. Now, as they grow up, you create them as the best citizens, so that they may not be a nuisance to the world, so that the world may feel comfortable with your children. In the meanwhile, be reading the scriptures, and then see that your sons are settled in their earning, so that they may not be menace to the society and pest to the society. And now, that is the and now of this book. And now let us begin to meditate and experience the Brahman. That is one step in occultism. Also, he gives us the reason why we should try to meditate upon him. The reason he gives is because your consciousness is that, and because your consciousness is curiosity, because your curiosity wants to know, and because if you begin to know the other things, there is no limit. Let it know itself. Then the other things are illumined. So, when you enter a dark room, instead of trying to know with the hand where the tumbler is, and then know where the jug is, and try to pour water into your tumbler to drink in the dark, and try to drink and find that there is no water because the jug was empty, it was dark, and then try to search for a bigger jug where there is water, and in the meanwhile we will kick the chair and break the nose, and in the meanwhile we will break the tumbler, and then the fine idea strikes to our head. How it is if I have the light? Then we begin to creep on the wall, search for the switch. We would have been done long ago. Then sometimes when we are just out of deep sleep, when our health is not good, we do not know where the switch is, because for the northern wall we are searching in the south. So we search for 2 minutes. In the meanwhile, there will be the wooden piece upon which we will hit our hand. There will be some nails that hurt our finger. And then I remember that I am a smoker and I have a matchbox in my pocket. And then take out the matchbox, light. See, after 15 minutes or 20 minutes of blindness, confusion, agitation and injury, God said, let there be light. Like that, sometimes we will be in blindness and agitation up to 30 years of age, or 40, 50, or sometimes 60, 70 years, and sometimes die dark without switching on the light. So the whole life is a dark room experiment. So he says, for this reason, you meditate upon the one who is the meditator in you, because he is the seed of all sciences in the world. From him the sciences came through anyone. You may call him Albert Einstein, or you may call him any other scientist. You may call him Newton, anything, but it is only through him who questions. All these sciences came into this world. And then the next statement is, he is the seed of all sciences. Therefore, and now meditate and try to experience the one existence in all. It is called Brahma Vidya or the first book in occultism. And the other two are supplementaries to it. What are the supplementaries to occultism? The one which we have described now as occultism is also called Uttara Mimamsa in Sanskrit. The book is written by Vedavyasa, the author of Bhagavad Gita. It is written in the form of small sentences, very profound and pregnant in meaning, and each sentence is meditative. And in Sanskrit, these short sentences are called sutras, that means aphorisms. You know Patanjali's sutras. Similarly, here they are called Brahma Sutras, that is the aphorisms about Brahman. That is the main book in occultism. And we are expected to lead our private life according to the principles which we have discussed previously. That is, think good of everyone, speak good of everyone. If you can do good to anyone. As far as it is in your purview, you do something useful to anyone. This is the first principle. The second principle is, try to keep up your balance. If you find any defects in others, don't speak of them behind their back in their absence. Talk to them when there are no other people. And the next principle is, keep up the cleanliness of your body and mind, and practice to be happy under any circumstances. Create happy vibrations with your presence to others. These are the fundamentals of occultism to be practiced.